Alright everyone, welcome back to another episode. Today I'm weighing in on a small issue that is creeping across the globe, all thanks to our American friends. No, it's got nothing to do with Trump or politics. It's tipping. Tipping is a bit of a cultural phenomenon that is kind of just making its presence known in a lot of countries where perhaps it wasn't really prevalent before. So before I get into it though, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers and build momentum. So I'd be very much appreciated. Now, I found a cool video discussing tipping in Europe. So the honest guides are based in the Czech Republic and in Prague to be exact. They're walking around their local tourist district asking tourists about tipping, how much they normally tip at home compared to what they're tipping away. Now, how does it apply to Portugal? Well, I'm going to tell you on the way.
We're asking tourists how much they tip in their country. So how much do you tip in Virgin?
15 to 20%. It's going up.
Straight up, the wife said 20%. Now, you're in Czech Republic. How much do you tip here?
We're not sure. Do you have a suggestion?
That's why we're making this video. We're not sure either.
Oh, okay.
All these people around.
Okay, so I like that he didn't just automatically presume to give the 20%. So he was looking to be understanding to the culture and, you know, be respectful.
Me are tourists from different countries around the globe, and today we're going to ask them how much they tip in their countries and how much they tip when they travel here to Prague, Czech Republic. Let's go find out. Hey, where are you from?
I'm from Turkey.
Turkey.
Yeah.
How much do you tip in Turkey?
Zero. There isn't a tip culture in Turkey.
Really?
Yeah.
So you go to a restaurant, the service was good, you don't tip?
No.
No? Interesting.
Okay, so in Turkey, they don't have a tip culture. Like Australia, you don't to tip. But I bet you that in Turkey, there's probably, you know, if there's exceptional service, or they went above and beyond, they'd probably give a couple of extra dollars here and there. It's not going to be something that is completely frowned upon. So it's like Portugal. If you go out for a restaurant, go out to a restaurant for a lovely meal and everything was great, couldn't have asked for a better experience, you know, you probably leave a few dollars. Okay, but there's no hard and fast rule about 10-15% of your bill. Okay, so just take note of that. But it's always kind to leave something, but you know, it's entirely up to you. It's not expected at all. It's, as I said, it's not. Portugal doesn't really have that culture of expectation around tipping. It's just a nice gesture.
No?
No tip.
No tip, really? Okay.
In El Salvador, it's like 10%. 10%, yes.
How much do you tip in Spain?
Nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you go to a restaurant, the service was good, you won't leave a tip?
You can, but it's not normal.
It's not normal.
Yeah.
How much will you tip here in Czech Republic?
I don't know. We have to do tips.
Okay, so that attitude there is probably exactly how many locals in Portugal feel. They don't normally tip. You go out to a restaurant, as far as they're concerned, the bill is the bill and it covers the staff's wages. And as I said though, it's a nice gesture. If you want to, do it.
I don't know, I'm asking you. 13?
Yeah.
And how much do you tip here in Czech Republic?
So,
Same.
The same?
Yeah.
You'll tip the same? It's interesting how the gentleman tips the same way at home and the same way here.
Okay, so you know, I think the point of trying to understand this is if you're coming from a tipping culture and you're tipping at home, the same circumstances that apply from one place to another. So I'm not sure who's from Israel, so Israel might have a culture around tipping because they might deliberately pay their hospitality staff lower wages than normal. I don't know. I should check that out. But coming to another country whose staff aren't reliant on tips and where it's just a nice gesture, you know, that can be seen as quite a bit of money. So, yeah, it's an interesting experience to try and figure out where the lines in the sand are, because everyone has different views. So for everyone, for my view of courteous tipping, there'll be people hard and fast. No, you must give 20%. So, yeah, it's all differences of perspective.
Which with 13% it's fine, but if the Americans do it with 20 and more % tip, that can cause some issues, which is how much...
Okay, so if you do a 20% tip, I think that's what he's getting at, is that it can be quite a bit of money given to someone that's not necessary. Like if you think you've got to tip that sort of money, but you may think that those people are reliant on that money, you know, you might be fooling yourself and paying an unnecessary amount. Now, don't be fooled. That's different from courteous tipping, because if someone has done an exceptional job and you really want to reward them, I mean, I've worked a service job before where someone's given me $50. I was really happy, as you can imagine.
How much do you tip in New Mexico?
20%.
Whoa, that's pretty steep.
Is that pretty steep?
Yeah.
That's pretty average.
Okay, how much will you tip in the Czech Republic?
20%.
That's pretty steep too. Okay.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
You're used to it.
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay, so I think the problem is when you think you're compelled to give that sort of dollar value and it's not an expected tip. Okay, you don't need to do that in these countries. Obviously, you can be a bit more, you can be courteous, but just you can give a reduced amount of however you feel. But no one wants to make you feel compelled to give that sort of dollar value, because they don't have to live on their tips, unlike Americans.
Thank you very much. Wow. Wow, straight up 20%. I'll tip 20%. I was so shocked. I didn't know what else to ask, man.
So we round it off. So if you pay 163, then you make it 170.
Okay. What do you think about it?
Okay, so the rounding off method is probably what you'd expect in Portugal. You know, what you'd probably feel as a good, kind, courteous gesture. So rounding it off, you don't have to think about 10, 15, 20% of your bill to round it off as a tip. But, you know, like anyone, giving a tip is a nice way of saying thank you for some exceptional service.
Americans tipping 20 and more %.
Because in America, they expect that.
They live on
If we
tips.
go to America and do 10%, they spit on you.
They live on their tips. And, yeah.
What do you mostly tip? Or do you even tip?
In India, yeah.
Yeah?
And here, no, because I'm a student. Gotta be honest. So, yeah.
Wait, so in India you're not a student?
See, I thought we
Okay, so you can come to these countries and not tip, so don't feel compelled that you have to. I have heard reports in some tourist districts of the tipping machines being given out to be used. Again, you don't have to use them because there's no law, no expectation of giving a tip. So I think the main message of this video is be courteous in tipping if you feel it's warranted. No one's going to say it's rude, and don't do it.
don't need to tip.
You don't need to tip?
Yeah.
So you go to a restaurant and you don't leave any tip?
There's compulsory like service charge.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which is like 19%.
Okay, interesting. How much do you tip in California?
About 20%.
20%?
20%.
10%.
How much will you tip here in Czech Republic?
20%.
Wow, that's generous.
They give you like, they're shocked if you tip them that much. So.
And you did that already?
I did do that already,
I
yeah.
love how the guy just described the problem that we're kind of chasing here. He's like, oh yeah, they were shocked when I gave them 20% tip. Yeah, imagine the shock somebody in San Francisco would have if I give no tip.
And again, this just highlights what I said before. Sometimes just doing what you do at home, you know, you're just paying too much when you come to a new culture. But again, if that's what they want to pay, they should be no problems.
We're from China.
China? Do you give tips in China at restaurants?
Not really.
Not really?
Not really.
No? How much do you tip here in Czech Republic?
10%.
10%? What do you like better? Do you like better tipping or no?
I'm kind of curious as to why they don't tip at home, but then all of a sudden view that they have to tip in a new culture that doesn't actually have tipping, new country. So I wonder if it's the influence of American TV and movies that they see where, and I could say, you know, same thing in Australia, where, you know, it probably makes up about 75 to 80% of all worldwide content these days, American TV shows and stuff. And if you're constantly seeing tipping performed, it's going to be something that you just start internalizing, starting to think subconsciously, oh, when I go out, I've got a tip. So it's just kind of curious to find out what the psychology around it is, because that's the one thing I've noticed in this video is people say, no, I don't tip at home. Oh, what are you tipping here? 10%. And the problem that he's getting at is Czech Republic is, you know, they have a courteous tipping culture, but it's not an expected tipping culture. So it's just interesting.
No tipping.
We like no tipping.
You like no tipping? So in China, if I go to a restaurant, I don't need to tip.
You don't need to tip at all.
What do you think about tipping? Do you like it?
I think if someone has done a really good job of serving you and, you know, they've gone out of their way, then yes, of course, I think that it's good to show someone that you appreciate that they've done that.
Ladies, do you speak English? No? Where are you from? Do you speak English?
No.
You do? Oh, you do? Oh, lovely. And is it sometimes included in the bill, like the coperto?
Not really. The coperto is always there in Italy, but it includes the service, but not the tip.
Okay, got you. To be honest, it's hard to get an Italian perspective because most of the Italians we actually came across do not speak English, so I was very happy this gentleman shed some light on tipping in Italy, and especially the coperto that I still can't wrap my head around.
Bordeaux, the wine country.
Oh, okay. Do you give tips when you go to a restaurant or where you go to a bar?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. How much usually?
It depends. When the service is very good, it can go up to 10%.
Up to 10%?
Yeah.
10-15% maybe?
Okay. How much did you tip here?
I don't know if we did. I don't know if that was an option actually.
Okay. Do you tip just over the bar when they hand you the pint or no?
No, usually no.
No?
No, that's only in America they do that.
Only And how much here you will tip? 10. 10? Okay, that's great. Do you tip here in Czech Republic?
Not. I don't think so.
No?
Not so far. Yeah.
And how much will you tip here in Czech Republic? Brutally honest. She would be perfect on the Honest Guide show. You will see. How much will you
I
tip?
think about 15 to 20%. Is it good?
Okay, so as you can see, the opinions vary across the board, and the message of the video, and I'm sure what the Honest Guides are saying as well, is tip by all means. So no one is having a go at those people who want to tip their servers. I mean, it's only natural to want to, you know, be nice to people. I like being courteous to people. I like tipping and, you know, when someone does good by me. So no one's criticizing that. I think what people are trying to figure out is how much is too much, especially in a different culture from America, because America is well established what the expectations are, but everywhere else it's kind of all over the place. But as far as Portugal is concerned, you really tip because you want to, but there's no hard and fast rule around, the percentage of your bill. So, yeah, use that information as you want. All right, so places where you could tip. Obviously, taxis, Ubers, your hotel, people that help you out at the hotel, all those sort of things, of course. But in day-to-day life, as far as an immigrant goes, there'd be weeks where I don't tip. Go to a cafe. If I'm going up to the counter to order and I've got to stand there and wait for my order and take it back to the table, don't tip. So there's no expectation, there's no jar for a tip, there's no nothing. Okay, it doesn't mean I can't tip the server if that's something you want to do, but it's just not expected. So don't feel when you come to Portugal you've got to tip everyone that serves you 20% of everything that you do. So that's the message, I guess. All right. Have a great day. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's help this channel grow. Have a good one.